Did you really think you could just move your parents into our home without asking me, Ryan? I asked, my voice shaking with a mix of anger and disbelief. Ryan, my husband of 6 years, looked up from his laptop with a smirk I had grown to hate. Oh, Amelia, don't be so dramatic. It's just for a while. Besides, it's not like you have a say in this. His words felt like a slap in the face. The house, a lovely 2-story in a quiet suburb, wasn't just any house. It was the home my grandparents had left me, the place where I wanted to raise our son Lucas, away from the negativity of Ryan's family. You do remember that this house is in my name, right? I shot back, my hands clenched into fists at my sides. Ryan's smug look faded, replaced by a hint of uncertainty. Our 2-year-old son Lucas wandered into the room, oblivious to the tension. I forced a smile for him. As he reached up to me with his chubby hands, I picked him up and kissed his forehead, trying to calm down. I'm not okay with this, Ryan. Your parents have never respected me or our space. Why now? I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. Ryan shrugged, his indifference making me even more frustrated. Their family, Amelia. You wouldn't understand. Family. The word echoed in my mind mockingly. My own family, who ran a small but beloved coffee shop in town, had always been my safe haven. They were nothing like Ryan's controlling, overbearing parents. The doorbell rang, interrupting our standoff. Through the peephole, I saw them, Ryan's parents, suitcases in tow, ready to invade our life. My heart sank. Fine, Ryan, let them in. But this isn't over, I said angrily, handing Lucas to him before opening the door. Amelia, darling, cooed Ryan's mother as she swept past me without a second glance. His father followed, a stern man who'd barely acknowledged me since our wedding day. As they made themselves comfortable in my living room, I felt a familiar sense of intrusion. This was just the beginning, I realized. But as I watched them, something inside me changed. I was done being the compliant daughter-in-law, bending to their whims. I retreated to the kitchen, my mind racing. This was my home, my sanctuary, and I was ready to fight for it. The following days became a blur of unwanted changes. Ryan's mother, Elaine, had a knack for making herself overly present, which felt suffocating. She rearranged my kitchen, criticized my parenting, and acted as if our home belonged to her. Lucas shouldn't be eating that, Amelia. It's not healthy, Elaine scolded one morning as I prepared Lucas's breakfast. I held back a sharp reply, feeling her judgment like a slap. He's fine, Elaine. It's just cereal. She sighed, shaking her head. In our house, we believe in a proper diet. You really should learn. Her remarks felt like tiny jabs, wearing down my patience. Ryan, as usual, was no help, lost in his work and unaware of the growing tension. One evening, as I was putting Lucas to bed, Elaine barged into his room. He's still not sleeping through the night. You must be doing something wrong. Her words felt like a slap, making me doubt my abilities as a mother. I'm doing my best, I snapped back, unable to hide my frustration. Elaine's eyes narrowed. Clearly, your best isn't good enough. Maybe if you had a real job and some structure in your life. Anger surged through me. This is my house, Elaine. You're a guest here, remember that. Her laugh was cold. Oh dear, Ryan never mentioned how delusional you are. This is his house too, and as his mother, I have every right to be here. The next day, I reached my limit. I found Elaine in Lucas's room, going through his drawers. What do you think you're doing? I demanded, my voice shaking with anger. I'm just organizing. This room is a mess, she replied, not even bothering to look at me. That's it. I want you out of my house now, I exclaimed, feeling a mix of fury and desperation. Elaine turned to face me, her expression one of mock surprise. Your house? Oh, sweetie, you're just the wife. This is Ryan's house too, and he wants us here. I stormed out of the room, my mind swirling with thoughts, Ryan's betrayal, Elaine's intrusion, and how they ignored my feelings. It was too much. I was tired of being pushed around, tired of my home being invaded by people who didn't respect me. That night, as I lay in bed, a plan started forming in my mind. I was going to take back control of my life, my home, and my son's future. Ryan and his parents had crossed a line, and it was time for them to realize I wouldn't be their doormat anymore. The fight was just beginning, and I was ready. A few days later, Ryan dropped a bombshell during an already tense dinner. My parents need to stay with us longer. Their house is undergoing renovations, he said casually, as if it were no big deal. I felt my anger rise. Longer? Ryan, we never talked about them staying here in the first place. He shrugged, avoiding my eyes. It's just for a few more weeks. What's the problem? The problem? Your mother treats me like I don't belong in my own home. I snapped, frustration boiling over. Elaine, overhearing us, chimed in with her usual condescending tone. Amelia, you're overreacting. We're family. You should be more understanding. That night, sleep escaped me. Their words kept replaying in my mind, fueling a growing determination. I wasn't going to let them control me anymore. It was time to take a stand. The next morning, I called my brother Alex, who had always been there for me. They're taking over my life, Alex. I can't handle it anymore. I confessed, holding back tears. Alex's voice was strong and supportive. Amelia, you have to stand up for yourself. Don't let them push you around. It's your house, your rules. His words gave me the courage I needed. I decided to talk to Rayan, but this time, I would be prepared. I gathered evidence of Elaine's bossy behavior, the rearranged kitchen, the disrupted routines, her constant rude comments. The day of confrontation came. I waited until Elaine and Rayan were in the living room. We need to talk. Now, I declared, my voice steady despite the turmoil inside me. Rayan looked up, taken aback by my tone. What's going on, Amelia? It's about your parents, Rayan. Their constant interference, their disrespect for my boundaries. It stops today, I declared, holding up my list of complaints. Elaine scoffed. This is ridiculous. We're just trying to be helpful. Helpful? By undermining me all the time, by treating me like I don't matter in my own home. I shot back, my frustration boiling over. Rayan squirmed. Amelia, they're my parents. We can't just ask them to leave. No, Rayan, they're guests in my home, and they've stayed too long. Either they go, or I do with Lucas, I stated firmly, my determination clear. The room fell silent, my words hanging in the air. I saw Rayan's realization, but it was Elaine who spoke first. You wouldn't dare, she spat, her mask slipping. Try me. I won't regret standing up for myself, I retorted, my voice filled with determination. That night, Rayan's parents packed their bags. As they left, Elaine shot me a hateful look. You'll regret this, Amelia, she warned. But as the door closed behind them, I felt a weight lift off my shoulders. It was the first step in taking back control of my life, and I was prepared for whatever challenges lay ahead. The days after Elaine and her husband left were strangely quiet. Rayan's attitude towards me became cold and distant, our interactions minimal and strained. Yet, I found comfort in the peace of my home and the joyful laughter of Lucas. One evening, as Lucas played with his toys, Rayan announced, I have to go on a business trip. I'll be gone for a few weeks. His tone was indifferent, as if our troubled relationship had taken a backseat to his work. Fine, I replied sharply, barely able to hide my relief at the thought of his absence. After Rayan left, the atmosphere in the house shifted, feeling liberating. I started undoing the changes Elaine had made, each adjustment feeling like a small victory. But the real turning point came when I stumbled upon a series of emails on Rayan's laptop, left carelessly open. They revealed an affair, a betrayal that cut deeper than any of his mother's snide remarks. Anger, hurt, and a sense of betrayal swirled inside me. I knew it was time for Rayan to face the consequences. I began planning my next moves meticulously, each step aimed at making Rayan and his family answer for their deceit and manipulation. First, I secured my financial and legal position. I contacted a lawyer, explained my situation, and started the divorce proceedings. Then I focused on the house, a symbol of my grandparents' legacy and my independence. I reached out to a real estate agent. I want to sell the house quickly and quietly, I told her. She was surprised but could sense the urgency in my voice. Are you sure about this, Amelia? Selling the house is a big step, she warned. I've never been more certain, I replied, fueled by a mix of betrayal and newfound determination. The house went on the market and offers came in quickly. The idea of Rayan returning to find his control gone brought a bittersweet satisfaction. In the midst of all this, I leaned on my family for support. My parents were shocked by Rayan's actions and stood by me and Lucas. We're here for you, no matter what, my father assured me. Watching Lucas play, unaffected by the chaos, I silently promised to shield his happiness. Rayan's return was inevitable. But I was no longer the same person he left. Armed with truth and a plan, I was ready to confront him and take back my life. The day Rayan returned was heavy with tension. I had played out this moment in my head countless times, imagining every possible scenario. Yet my heart raced as I heard his key turn in the lock. Amelia, I'm back, Rayan called out, his voice filling the now unfamiliar space. I stepped out from the kitchen, my stance firm. Welcome home, Rayan. We need to talk. He glanced around, noticing the changes I'd made. What's going on? The house looks different. I didn't falter. I sold the house, Rayan. It's no longer ours. Disbelief washed over his face. You did what? You can't just sell our house without telling me. It's my house, Rayan. And after what I found out, I don't think you get a say anymore. I said, my voice steady but tinged with simmering anger. He scoffed, trying to regain control. What are you talking about? The affair, Ryan. I know everything, I revealed, watching as his facade crumbled. His attempt to deny it was feeble and short-lived. Amelia, it's not what you think. I think it's exactly what it looks like. You betrayed me, our family, I retorted, the hurt clear in my voice. Ryan's expression shifted from shock to anger. You're overreacting. We can fix this. There's no we anymore, Ryan. I filed for divorce, I declared, handing him the papers. The ensuing conversation was a blur of accusations and denials. But I stood my ground. The man I married was gone, replaced by a stranger driven by selfish desires. As he stormed out, vowing to contest the divorce, I felt a mix of freedom and apprehension. I had taken the first step toward a new life, but the fight was far from over. In the following weeks, our situation became public. Ryan's once imposing parents were now entangled in their son's mess. Their attempts to reach out were met with silence. I had cut ties with them, focusing solely on Lucas and finalizing the divorce. The day of the court hearing arrived. Ryan looked defeated, the consequences of his actions finally sinking in. As the judge granted the divorce and custody of Lucas to me, I felt a sense of justice. Ryan's plea for reconciliation after the hearing fell on deaf ears. You made your choice, Ryan. Now you have to live with it, I said, turning away from him for the last time. News of our divorce and Ryan's affair spread, tarnishing his reputation and relationships. His once proud and judgmental parents found themselves shunned by those who had once respected them. Walking out of the courthouse holding Lucas's hand, I realized this wasn't just an end, but a new beginning, a chance for me and my son to start fresh, free from deceit and manipulation. The future was uncertain, but it was ours to shape. Life after the divorce felt like stepping out of a long, dark tunnel into the light. I had regained control not just of the house, now sold, but of my life. Lucas, unaware of the grown-up troubles, flourished in the love and stability I provided. My days were busy but fulfilling, focused on rebuilding our lives and running the coffee shop, my sanctuary. The shadow of Ryan and his parents lingered, casting a pall over my life. One day, as I was closing the shop, Ryan appeared, looking disheveled and desperate, a stark contrast to the composed man I had once known. Amelia, please, I need to talk to you, he pleaded, his eyes searching mine for a glimmer of the compassion we once shared. I hesitated, torn by conflicting emotions. What do you want, Ryan? It's about the alimony and child support, he began, his voice filled with embarrassment. I can't afford it. I lost my job because of the scandal. And my parents? They're struggling too. His words hit me like a cold shock. That's not my problem, Ryan. You made your choices and now you have to face the consequences. But Amelia, I have nothing left. Please, for old time's sake, he begged, his voice breaking with despair. I felt a pang of pity, but it was quickly overtaken by the memory of his betrayal. Old time's sake. Those times are gone, Ryan. You should have thought about the consequences before you cheated and lied. I turned to leave, but his next words stopped me in my tracks. I'm sorry, Amelia. Truly, I am. I was a fool and I ruined everything. Please help me. For a moment, I glimpsed the man I once loved, vulnerable and regretful. But the pain he had caused was too deep, the betrayal too raw. I'm sorry, Ryan, but I can't help you. You need to figure this out on your own, I said firmly, closing the chapter of our shared past for good. As I walked away, leaving Ryan standing alone, I felt a sense of closure. The journey had been painful, filled with betrayal and heartache, but it had led me to a place of strength and independence. Life moved on. Lucas grew, his laughter and curiosity bringing joy to our home. The coffee shop thrived, becoming a place of warmth and community. And as for me, I found contentment in simple pleasures, the aroma of fresh coffee, the sound of Lucas's giggles, and the support of loved ones. Ryan and his parents became distant memories, their legacy a reminder of the consequences of betrayal. My journey taught me resilience and the importance of standing up for oneself. As I locked the shop that evening, I looked up at the sky, its hues signaling the end of another day. I smiled, holding Lucas's hand tightly. Our future was uncertain, but it was bright. We were moving forward, step by step, into a new chapter of our lives.